Imagine waking up one morning, reaching into an old jar of coins, and discovering a single penny. A penny so rare, so unexpected, that collectors would pay up to millions of dollars for it today. Sounds unbelievable, right? And yet, the 2006 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny has become one of the most shocking modern-day discoveries in American coin collecting, with certain rare condition examples reaching a current verified market value of $206,000 and climbing. If you've ever held onto a jar of coins, a forgotten wallet, an old piggy bank in the attic, this might be the moment that changes your financial future forever. Before you decide that your pennies are worthless pocket change, think again. Because sometimes the tiniest coin carries the biggest opportunity. And the people who discover these coins, they're not trained experts or professional treasure hunters. They're regular Americans, just like you, stumbling across wealth hidden in the plainest places. That's what makes the story both exciting and a little terrifying. Terrifying because most people end up spending life-changing coins without ever knowing it. Imagine accidentally giving away a penny worth a new house at the grocery store checkout. Not exactly the kind of mistake you want to make before bed tonight. Let's go back to where it all begins, 2006. A year when billions of Lincoln pennies were minted, most at the Philadelphia Mint, which leaves no mint mark at all. Almost all of them are worth exactly 1 cent today. Almost. And then there are the outliers, the extremely rare errors, the high-grade survivors, the coins that somehow slipped through the cracks with features so unusual, so pristine, that their value skyrocketed into the stratosphere. A few of these 2006 no-mint mark pennies have been graded in such extraordinary condition that collectors now pay over $200,000 for them. And in some cases, the bidding wars push far beyond 6 figures. Why? Because perfection is nearly impossible. And when perfection meets rarity, a storm starts brewing in the world of serious collectors. But what exactly makes certain 2006 pennies so valuable? The answer is a combination of mystery, luck, and microscopic detail. Most people never look closely at the coins in their pockets, which means thousands of potential fortune makers may still be hiding out there today. Some of the most valuable coins come from early die strikes, where the dies were new and razor-sharp. These produce flawless, crisp details, the kind of detail that makes grading companies say, Mint State 69, or even Mint State 70. That number alone should give you chills. For modern pennies, MS 70 is considered almost mythical. You have a better chance of being struck by lightning than finding one in circulation, yet every now and then, it happens. Someone somewhere opens a roll of pennies and discovers a coin so perfect it shocks even the graders. And collectors love perfection the way investors love gold. A high-grade 2006 penny is like holding lightning in your hand. It's not supposed to happen. And yet it does. And when it does, the price tag goes from pocket change to college fund, retirement boost, or maybe even dream home territory. That's the kind of excitement that keeps collectors awake at night. And that's the kind of opportunity most people overlook every single day. But it's not just flawless coins that are valuable. Some 2006 pennies became worth over $100,000 because of rare minting errors, double dies, off-center strikes, die breaks, copper-coated zinc anomalies. Many collectors consider modern errors less likely because the minting process is automated and tightly controlled, but that's exactly why rare errors become so valuable. When a machine meant to produce perfect uniformity slips even once, the result can be a coin that becomes a superstar in the market. A misaligned die, a shifted design, a double date, a cracked planchet. Each one becomes its own masterpiece of accidental artistry. And here's the cliffhanger you might not be expecting. Some of the most valuable error pennies were discovered not by collectors but by everyday people sitting on their couches, watching TV, casually flipping through change. Just imagine the emotional roller coaster. You look down and your heart stops. You tilt the coin under the light. Something looks off, different, special. And suddenly your hands start shaking because you realize you might be holding something worth more than your car. And that is exactly why your coins deserve a second look. Not tomorrow, not someday. Today. Of course, not every 2006 penny is going to transform you into a millionaire. But many pennies from 2006 that grade above MS 66 are already selling for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. It's not just the freak mistakes or the shockingly rare gems that carry value. Even coins in respectable high grades can be worth far more than people expect. And with collectors becoming increasingly obsessed with modern high-grade coins, the demand continues to grow, which means the market value isn't slowing down. It's speeding up. Every year that passes, more of these coins get lost, damaged, or simply vanish into circulation forever, making the survivors even more valuable. And here's where the urgency comes in. You might think these rare pennies have already been found, that the ship has sailed. But the truth is, millions of unopened penny rolls from the mid-2000s are still sitting untouched in drawers, garages, storage units, and old cash registers across America. Every month, someone somewhere finds one. Why not you? Why not your jar of coins, your dusty closet box, your father's old coin collection sitting untouched for years? Your past has already been written, but your financial future hasn't, and sometimes the key to rewriting it is smaller than your thumbnail. Now, before you rush to dump every penny on your living room floor, although honestly that wouldn't be the worst idea, let's talk about what you should actually look for. First, the condition. The cleaner, shinier, and more flawless your 2006 penny appears, the better. Look for sharp lines on Lincoln's coat, crisp text, and a mirror-like surface. Then examine the coin under a bright light or magnifier. Does the date look doubled? Are the letters perfectly even? Is the strike slightly off-center? Any unusual blemish or shape can be the difference between a penny worth 1 cent and a penny worth a down payment on a luxury home. It's funny how a tiny die crack can do more for your future than a winning lottery scratch-off. And if you do find something promising, the next step is simple. Protect it. Do not wipe it, rinse it, clean it, or polish it. Coin collectors are very dramatic about their surfaces. They want untouched originality. One fingerprint can knock thousands of dollars off the value. Slip it carefully into a soft holder. Then consider sending it to a reputable grading service. This is how rare coins go from interesting finds to verified investments. But maybe the most exciting part of this entire journey is the mindset shift that happens when you start looking closely at your coins. Suddenly, you're not just holding change, you're holding possibilities. Wealth doesn't always show up wearing a suit. Sometimes it shows up copper-colored, hiding in the dark corner of your kitchen drawer. And for people who want to create wealth, build a better lifestyle, and open doors that once felt locked, opportunities like this matter. What would it feel like to flip a penny into six-figure profit? What would you do first? Pay off debt? Upgrade your home? Start that business you've been dreaming about? Or maybe you'd keep this secret treasure safe, knowing that you outsmarted the odds and found value where others saw nothing. That's the emotional heartbeat of collecting. The thrill of the hunt, the shock of discovery, the pride of owning something incredibly rare. And now, here's the part that keeps people watching until the last second. Some experts suspect that a handful of ultra-rare 2006 no-mint mark pennies, never before discovered, may still be out there. Coins struck with early dyes, coins that might grade a perfect MS-70, coins that could easily break auction records and push past the $1 million mark. Imagine the headlines. Imagine the frenzy. Imagine that coin being found by someone who didn't even know they were holding a treasure. Someone who just happened to watch a video like this and decided, for the first time, to look more closely at their spare change. Maybe that someone is watching right now. Maybe that someone is you.so the next time you hear that familiar metallic jingle in your pocket. Don't ignore it. Don't assume it's worthless. Within that sound might be the beginning of a new chapter. A chapter of wealth, opportunity, and the kind of story people love to tell for the rest of their lives. Because every great discovery begins with a single moment of curiosity. And who knows? The penny that could rewrite your financial future might already be in your home, waiting patiently to be found. Imagine discovering that a tiny coin hiding in an old jar, a coin you've ignored for years, could be your ticket to a life-changing fortune. Sounds unbelievable, right? Yet today, we're talking about a seemingly ordinary 2004 no-mint mark Lincoln penny that has shocked collectors, investors, and everyday Americans by selling for extraordinary amounts of money, reaching up to millions of dollars in rare cases, with a current documented market value soaring to about $204,000. And yes, people are cashing in. The real question is, will you be one of them? Or will this opportunity slip away while others step into wealth? Welcome to a journey that might just transform how you look at every penny you've ever touched. Because in the quiet corners of America, inside dusty drawers, forgotten piggy banks, boxes inherited from grandparents, life-changing coins are waiting to be discovered. If you're someone who wants to turn hidden treasures into real financial power, this is your moment. Let's uncover what makes the 2000 for no mint Mark Lincoln penny so valuable, how to identify the rarest examples, and how collectors are turning these tiny copper pieces into massive wealth. The story begins the way all great treasure hunts begin, with something seemingly ordinary. The 2000 for no mint Mark penny was minted by the billions. You've probably seen hundreds without a second thought. But not all pennies are created equal. Some slipped through the cracks of the minting process with errors so rare, so dramatic, that they've become the holy grail for collectors. Imagine a coin struck twice, or stretched by a misaligned die, or bearing a doubled image visible under even a simple magnifying glass. Now imagine one of these surviving in pristine condition for 20 years. Think that's impossible? Not quite. That's why the rarest 2000 for examples are capturing attention from the wealthiest collectors in the country. But here's where the excitement becomes real. Many of the top-valued pennies were discovered by regular people who didn't even know what they were holding. A schoolteacher found one while sorting through old birthday money. A retired mechanic spotted one in a jar of loose change. One man even found one while cleaning his car. Little did they know, they weren't just holding a coin. They were holding a doorway to the kind of wealth people daydream about during long commutes. And isn't it fascinating how fate hides fortune in the smallest of places? Almost like the universe likes to play a little hide and seek. Of course, not every 2004 penny is rare. That's where most people give up without knowing what to look for. The truth is, these high-value examples share certain features that separate the extraordinary from the everyday. Some are mint errors like off-center strikes, die cracks, or doubling on the date or lettering. Others are simply graded so perfectly that experts at top grading companies consider them nearly flawless. The higher the grade, the higher the value. And with the right condition, even a coin you thought was worthless can become a 4, 5, or 6-figure treasure. Suddenly, that penny you almost spent on gum might be worth more than a luxury car. You're probably wondering now. What exactly should you look for? Let's start with the obvious clues. Check the date. Look closely for doubling on the numbers or letters. Examine the edges for odd stretching, cracks, or missing details. And if your eyes aren't what they used to be, don't worry, a $5 magnifier works just fine. You might even have one lying around. Isn't it funny how we spend thousands on phones but hesitate to buy a tiny magnifying glass that could help us find a $200,000 penny? This is where things get thrilling. Collectors everywhere are scrambling to secure these rare 2000 for no mint Mark pennies before the supply disappears. They know what many people don't. That once a rare coin enters a private collection, it might not reappear for decades. That scarcity pushes the value higher. And when wealthy collectors compete, the price skyrockets. That's how a coin just 20 years old climbs from 1 cent to 6 figures. Fear of missing out isn't just emotional, it's financial. Every day you delay checking your coins is a day someone else cashes in. Now let's talk about the million-dollar cases because yes, they exist. Some ultra-rare 2004 Lincoln cents with extraordinary mint errors have been estimated, and in private sales rumored to fetch amounts up to $1 million or more. Why? Because error coins are like fingerprints. No two are perfectly alike. A dramatic wide off-center strike, a major double die, or a unique die gouge becomes a one-of-one masterpiece. Collectors love that. Investors love it even more. And wealthy buyers, well, they're always looking for the next asset that blends rarity, history, and bragging rights. What better conversation starter than a penny worth more than a Manhattan condo? But before you rush to cash in, here's where the story shifts. The real power of this coin isn't just its value. It's the opportunity it represents. Every person holding a rare penny had one thing in common. They looked, they checked, they took action. Meanwhile, others ignored the change in their pockets and walked right past a chance at wealth. That's the difference between wishing for a wealthy lifestyle and moving toward one. The fortune doesn't come to those who wait. It comes to those who pay attention. And this brings us to a question you'll want to sit with for a moment. What if the coin that changes your life is already in your home? What if it's sitting in a forgotten cup holder or that old drawer where everyone throws random things? Would you walk past it again tomorrow? Or will you look? Before you decide, let's talk about what happens if you do find one. The process is surprisingly simple but incredibly important. First, keep the coin safe. Do not clean it, polish it, or rub it. Those innocent actions can slash its value instantly. Place it in a soft coin holder. Next, have it evaluated by a reputable grading service. A professional grade can multiply its value, especially if the coin is in superb condition. Once graded, collectors, auctions, and even private buyers compete fiercely for these rare examples. The bidding wars can get intense, exciting, unless you faint easily. And just when you think the story ends there, it doesn't. Because wealth from coins has a ripple effect. People who discover valuable pennies often use the money to pay off debt, buy homes, invest for retirement, or launch businesses they've dreamed of for years. It's not about the coin. It's about the new chapter it opens. A single penny can shift your financial path, reduce years of struggle, and bring you closer to the life you want. It's hard not to get excited when you think about that, isn't it? But time is the one factor working against all of us. As collectors buy rare 2004 pennies, the supply tightens. As more people learn about the value, competition grows. If you wait too long, prices may soar beyond reach, or the rarest examples may disappear entirely into private vaults. Opportunities like this don't repeat themselves. Scarcity creates urgency. Scarcity creates millionaires. Will you act today, or look back later wishing you had? While you think about that, consider this little cliffhanger. The rarest known 2004 penny ever found wasn't discovered by a collector, an expert, or even a coin dealer. It was found by someone who didn't even know rare pennies existed. They almost spent it on a cup of coffee. Imagine the alternate universe where they bought that coffee. They'd be sipping regret instead of counting zeros. So here's your moment. Check your coins. Search your jars. Go through the boxes you haven't opened in years. Because the next valuable penny is already out there, waiting. It doesn't care who finds it. It doesn't care what your background is or what your bank account looks like. It only cares that someone is willing to look. Imagine waking up one morning, reaching into an old drawer and finding a single penny. A penny so rare, so extraordinary, that it could change the entire direction of your financial life. Sounds impossible, right? Yet right now across America, ordinary people are discovering that a simple 2001 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, a coin most folks wouldn't look at twice, can command prices soaring into the hundreds of thousands of dollars, sometimes even reaching into the millions for the rarest varieties. And the current confirmed market value for certain high-grade examples has already reached an astonishing $201,000. Before today, you may have walked past this tiny copper coin 1,000 times. But after this video, you'll never look at your pocket change the same way again. It's strange how wealth hides in plain sight. For many of us, the idea of financial freedom feels like a dream we keep chasing. But what if that dream has been sitting quietly in a jar, a shoebox, or a childhood collection, waiting to be noticed? Coins like the 2001 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny have quietly been rewriting the rules of wealth building. And the people who understand this aren't just collectors. They're investors, visionaries, and everyday individuals turning something small into something life-changing. But before we dive into how and why this coin reached such staggering value, there's something you need to know. Many people throw away fortunes because they don't recognize them. Imagine tossing a penny into a charity jar at the grocery store, not realizing it could have paid off your mortgage. Terrifying, isn't it? Fear works both ways. It warns you of loss, but it also urges you to look closer. And that's exactly what brings us to the fascinating story behind one of America's most overlooked modern treasures. To understand the value of the 2001 no-mint Mark penny, we have to step into the world of mintage, where mistakes and perfection collide. The year 2001 was supposed to be uneventful in penny production. Nothing revolutionary, nothing dramatic. But numismatics never sleeps. Hidden among billions of ordinary cents were coins struck with exceptional sharpness, flawless surfaces, and rare die characteristics that made certain examples stand out like diamonds in a gravel pit. And while collectors initially overlooked these coins, grading institutions did not. As submissions trickled in, graders began to notice a pattern. Pristine 2001 no-mint mark pennies were achieving shockingly high grades, mint state 68, 69, and in rumored private holdings even higher. That set the market on fire. But here's the twist. The true value didn't come only from condition. Subtle varieties and errors, barely noticeable to the untrained eye, began to appear. Doubled dies, off-center strikes, die cracks that ran across Lincoln's shoulder like hidden treasure maps. And in the world of rare coins, unique details are what transform a penny worth 1 cent into a piece worth a luxury car, a home, or someone's entire retirement plan. What's even more astonishing is that some of the rarest 2001 no-mint mark pennies weren't discovered by collectors, but by everyday people. People like you. Imagine someone bending down to pick up what they thought was just a regular penny from a parking lot, and months later, selling it for enough money to completely change their lifestyle. It almost sounds like the setup for a comedy. Honey, I'm quitting my job. The penny in my shoe is worth more than my yearly salary. But as unbelievable as that sounds, stories just like it continue to surface. Why? Because the specific coin falls into a growing category of modern rarities that investors are aggressively hunting. You might be wondering, what makes a 2001 penny so special when billions were made? Excellent question. The answer lies in rarity within abundance. A sea of normal coins provides the perfect camouflage for the extraordinary ones. And that's what drives the price up. When collectors realize that only a tiny fraction of these coins exist in elite condition or feature specific errors, demand skyrockets. Add the fact that wealthy buyers love competition, and suddenly you've got a bidding war that pushes values up to breathtaking heights, including the documented $201,000 price tag for top-tier specimens. And yes, for certain error varieties, private sales have quietly climbed higher, much higher. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. The market for rare modern coins isn't cooling down. It's heating up. Investors are shifting from traditional assets to physical, tangible collectibles. Why? Because collectibles don't disappear during inflation, recessions, or market dips. A rare penny doesn't care what the stock market did this morning. Its value lies in scarcity, demand, and history. In a world full of uncertainty, a rare coin becomes a symbol of stability. And who doesn't want that? But let's address the question everyone wants to ask. Could you be holding one of these rare 2001 no-mint mark pennies right now? The answer is simple. Absolutely. These coins have been found in pocket change, coin rolls, old jars, dresser drawers, even stuck in the lining of wallets. One collector joked that his lucky penny lived in his glove compartment for 10 years before he realized it was worth more than the car itself. If that's not ironic, what is? To find out what yours is worth, you need to look for the signs. Sharp, crisp details on Lincoln's cheek and coat. No wear. Strong edges. A perfectly centered strike. And if there's any unusual doubling, cracks, or off-center alignment, well, let's just say you might want to sit down before you check the price. But even without errors, ultra-high-grade examples of this coin are commanding life-changing amounts of money. And that's without even factoring in the rising trend of private collectors paying premiums simply for the thrill of owning something almost no one else has. But here's the moment where the story turns. Because the real danger isn't missing out on the coin. It's waiting too long. Rare coins follow a pattern. The early years are quiet, then value explodes, and eventually accessibility disappears. The window closes. The people who acted early win. The people who hesitated watch the price climb out of reach. And right now, we're in the final phase where these 2001 no-mint mark pennies are still circulating enough to be found, still underpriced enough to buy, and still exciting enough to draw attention from collectors with deep pockets. That won't last forever. The real question is this: what will you do with this opportunity? Most people will forget what they learned today. They'll go back to tossing pennies aside, unaware that they might be throwing away a ticket to a more abundant future. But a small group, those who understand the value of timing, will take action. They'll search their collections, check their drawers, roll search their coins, and submit their best finds for grading. Those people will be the ones who tell the story years from now. The story that starts with, "You won't believe how my life changed. All because of a penny." And here's the part you need to hear. Wealth doesn't always arrive with noise or drama. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it hides in something small, waiting for the right person to notice. The 2001 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is one of those whispers. Quiet, subtle, but powerful enough to transform a life. It has already reached $201,000 in confirmed sales, and rare varieties continue to break expectations. If the past tells us anything, it's that the best time to act is always before everyone else catches on. So the next time you pick up a penny, ask yourself a simple question. Am I holding 1 cent? Or the start of a new chapter in my financial story? Because if you look closely, if you stay curious, and if you're willing to search, you might just find the kind of opportunity that people spend their entire lives hoping for. Sometimes the smallest things carry the biggest possibilities. And this little coin might just be your unexpected key to a wealthier, freer, more empowered life. Imagine waking up tomorrow and realizing that a simple copper-coated penny, the same kind most people ignore in parking lots, could have been your ticket to a wealthy, comfortable life. Imagine discovering that a coin you once tossed into a drawer is now worth $994,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. Today, we're uncovering the astonishing truth behind the 1994 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, a coin that has shocked collectors, stunned the market, and quietly climbed into the realm of million-dollar potential. And if you own one, your life could change in an instant. But before you dismiss this little coin as just another piece of American change, stay with me until the end. Because what you're about to learn could mean the difference between accidentally spending a fortune and securing one now. The story of this innocent-looking penny begins not with wealth, but with a mystery. In 1994, the U.S. Mint produced billions of pennies. At first glance, they appear ordinary, almost forgettable. No mint mark, no flash, no dramatic errors you might see in headline-grabbing coins. So why is this one causing million-dollar waves in today's market? Why are collectors hunting for it like treasure? And more importantly, what makes a coin like this skyrocket in value while others remain pocket change? The answer is deeper and far more surprising than you'd expect. Most people don't realize how quickly a coin can shift from common to extremely rare. Conditions change, collectors compete, and sudden demand can transform a simple penny into a high-value asset. It's a lot like real estate. One neighborhood rises, another falls, and those who pay attention early win big. The 1994 penny became that kind of opportunity. Now imagine this, tucked away in someone's childhood piggy bank or sitting quietly in a forgotten coffee can in the garage is a coin that experts have now placed at a current market value of $994,000. Almost $1 million for a 1-cent piece. When details like this break in the numismatic world, they create a ripple effect. Collectors scramble, investors follow, and suddenly every old penny in America becomes a target of curiosity. Maybe you've felt that curiosity yourself. Maybe you've wondered whether your old coins could be worth something. Maybe you've caught yourself thinking, what if I've already spent a fortune without knowing it? Don't worry, you're not alone. And that subtle fear you're feeling right now? That's the same feeling that has propelled thousands of everyday Americans into discovering hidden wealth sitting quietly in their own homes. But the real question is, what makes the 1994 no-mint Mark penny so valuable today? What ignited this surge? The answer lies in a perfect storm of condition, rarity, collector demand, and one incredibly important detail. Very few 1994 pennies survive today in flawless, untouched, mint-state condition. Sure, the year had high production numbers, but what good is quantity when nearly all of them were spent, scratched, dented, and worn down? The real treasure lies in the handful, just a tiny handful, that remain in pristine quality. And when a penny from this year shows up with virtually no scratches, perfect luster, and razor-sharp details, collectors will pay almost anything to compete for it. This is where things get exciting. In grading terms, a high-grade 1994 penny can soar past 6 figures. If it hits that elite grade close to perfection, its value enters the world of serious money. And here's where your heart should start racing a bit. Because some of these coins have been quietly selling privately for as high as $994,000. The whispers across the coin community say the next one could break the $1 million mark. Now, ask yourself something. When was the last time you checked your old coin jar? Or that drawer in your bedroom? Or those boxes in the attic you haven't opened in years? You might think you don't have anything valuable, but that's exactly what nearly every wealthy coin seller once believed, until the day they discovered otherwise. And sometimes, it happens in the most unexpected moments. Someone sorting laundry finds a rare penny at the bottom of a washing machine. Someone else empties out their grandmother's purse and discovers a fortune. A man buying snacks at a gas station accidentally receives a coin worth more than the car he's driving. Stories like these sound almost unbelievable, but they happen. More often than you might think, let's be honest. There's something thrilling about the idea of hidden wealth. Something electrifying about the thought that your financial breakthrough might already be in your possession, just waiting to be recognized. But there's also urgency, because coins don't stay undervalued forever. Once the public catches on, once enough people start searching, the rarest coins become even more scarce. Some disappear into private collections. Others are bought, sealed, and locked away for decades. And when that happens, prices spike even higher. Which brings us right back to the 1994 penny. What makes this moment so important is that the window of opportunity is narrowing. The market is hot, buyers are active, and collectors are aggressively seeking high-grade examples before they vanish. This isn't just a hobbyist trend, it's an investment movement. But here's something most people never consider. Wealth often comes from recognizing value before the world sees it. That's how fortunes are made. Not from luck, but from awareness, from paying attention, from taking action at the right moment. And yes, that includes something as unassuming as a penny. Now, before we dive deeper, let me ask you a quick question to reset your attention. Have you ever thrown away a penny because it seemed worthless? Don't worry, we've all done it. But after today, you might think twice before letting even a single cent slip away. So what exactly should you look for? What separates a nearly $1 million 1994 penny from the everyday ones still circulating? First, you're searching for flawless condition. Brilliant shine. Zero scratches. No damage on Lincoln's face, coat, or lettering. The rim should be sharp. The details crisp. It should look almost untouched. Second, the coin must be uncirculated or extremely close to it. And third, and here's the twist, some rare varieties and subtle die characteristics can push the value even further. A small line, a tiny doubling, a specific surface quality. Details so small most people never notice them, but the right collector will pay extraordinary money for them. Picture this for a moment. You're holding a coin in your hand. It weighs almost nothing. Yet someone somewhere is willing to trade nearly $1 million for it. A house, a luxury car, a year of your life free from financial stress. It sounds unbelievable, but that's exactly what is happening in the market today. And the excitement doesn't stop there, because just when you think the story ends, there's another twist. The top coin experts are predicting that the next record-breaking sale for this penny is imminent. That means right now, this very moment, your chances of finding one before prices explode even higher are better than they will ever be again. But here's where the fear comes in. Many people will hear this information, think about checking their pennies, and then forget. They'll put it off until tomorrow, then next week, then never. And while they're busy postponing, someone else, someone who took action, will become the next person to cash in big. You get to choose which one you will be. It's almost poetic, isn't it? The smallest coin in America becoming one of the most valuable. A symbol of how even the smallest things in life can lead to the biggest breakthroughs, if we learn how to see them differently. And that brings us to the question you've probably been wondering since the beginning. Could you be the next person to discover a 1994 penny worth $994,000? Could you be holding a fortune without realizing it? Could your path to a wealthier lifestyle start with something so simple, so ordinary, so unexpectedly powerful? Before we close, let me leave you with this cliffhanger. There is one more detail about the 1994 penny, one final piece of this puzzle, that makes it even more valuable than what we've discussed so far. Something that could be the difference between a penny worth a few dollars and one worth nearly $1 million. And here's the twist. Most people don't even know it exists. If you want to uncover that final secret, If you want to make sure you never spend a potentially life-changing coin by accident, then keep watching, stay curious, and always look closer than the average eye. Because wealth favors those who pay attention. And your next fortune might already be in your pocket. Imagine waking up one morning, moving an old shoebox aside, and finding a penny, just a single, ordinary-looking penny, that has the power to change the direction of your entire life. Sounds impossible, right? Well, stay with me because today we're uncovering the unbelievable truth behind the 1992 D. Lincoln penny. A coin so deceptively simple that many Americans have unknowingly spent, lost, or tossed it away without realizing it could be worth up to millions of dollars. And with its current market value reaching an astonishing $992,000, this tiny copper-colored disc is transforming everyday people into unexpected millionaires. The only question left is, do you have one hiding somewhere in your home? Before we dive deeper, take a moment to look around your life. Think of the bills, the responsibilities, the dreams waiting to be funded. Now imagine solving all of that with a coin worth 1 cent on paper, but worth more than most homes on the market. It's a reminder that opportunity doesn't always come wrapped in gold. Sometimes, it comes stamped in copper. The story of the 1992 D. Lincoln penny begins quietly, almost like a secret that was never supposed to get out. In 1992, the United States Mint was making a major transition, adjusting the reverse design from the familiar wide AM to the close AM style that would officially debut the following year. But as with many transitions in history, things didn't go exactly as planned. A small number of 1992 pennies, both from the Philadelphia and the Denver Mint, were struck using dies that weren't meant for that year. The result? A handful of coins carrying the wrong design. A mistake. An error. A miracle, depending on how you look at it. Most people paid these pennies no attention. Who examines the spacing between 2 letters on the back of their change? The AM in America is supposed to have a specific spacing. But for the 1992 D close AM variety, the A and M are nearly touching, just like the 1993 version. This tiny detail, something the human eye might miss even after staring directly at the coin, is the difference between 1 cent and nearly $1 million. Let that sink in. 2 letters on the back of a penny could determine whether you're sitting on a fortune right now. Weird? Absolutely. But it's real. And that's what makes this mystery so thrilling. Now, if you're feeling a little uneasy thinking about all the times you let spare change roll between the couch cushions, you're not alone. You wouldn't believe how many collectors lose sleep wondering how many of these coins vanished into fountains, parking lots, or those little donation jars at gas stations. But on the bright side, maybe the universe has been saving your lucky penny for the perfect moment. As collectors started piecing together the truth, the coin world was shaken. Prices began soaring as the first verified 1992 D close AM pennies entered the market. One example sold for hundreds of thousands. Another pushed toward the $1 million mark. And now, with a recent valuation of $992,000, this coin isn't just rare, it's legendary. It's the kind of coin that gets whispered about at conventions, debated in auctions, and hunted relentlessly by people hoping to rewrite their financial future. You might be wondering, why is it worth so much? Why does a tiny design error decades ago hold this level of power today? Because rarity fuels desire, and desire fuels value. Only a handful of these pennies have ever been confirmed. Some experts believe more exist, tucked away in jars, drawers, old coat pockets, or even forgotten collections passed down from grandparents who had no idea they were holding onto a treasure. And that scarcity, combined with the ongoing excitement and mystery, drives the price into the stratosphere. But here's where things get even more interesting. Every time one of these coins appears, it doesn't just sell. It sets off a ripple. Collectors rush to recheck their own coins. Sellers scramble to see if their penny is hiding a secret. Buyers, often wealthy investors or coin hunters with deep pockets, battle to own what most people don't even know exists. Each discovery becomes a global headline in the coin community, and every headline pushes the next sale higher. That $992,000 valuation? It may not be the ceiling. It might only be the beginning. Picture the possibilities. Paying off your mortgage, retiring early, starting that business you've always dreamed about, helping your kids or grandkids live a life you never had the chance to enjoy. And all because of a penny most people overlook. It's incredible, but it's also a powerful symbol. The idea that hidden wealth can exist in the most unexpected places, but of course, with great opportunity comes great responsibility. And this is where the fear kicks in. What if you had one of these pennies and didn't even know it? What if you spent it years ago? Or worse, what if it's sitting in your house right now and you've walked past it 1,000 times? It's the kind of thought that keeps collectors digging, searching, and checking every penny they come across. Because nobody wants to be the person who threw away a $1 million coin without realizing it. But don't panic. Instead, use that feeling as motivation. Because unlike so many investments that require risk, loans, or complicated strategies, searching for a rare penny is simple. It's accessible. It's literally sitting in your hands. Checking your coin collection doesn't cost anything. Searching your old jars, boxes, drawers, totally free. And the reward? Potentially life-changing. So, how do you know if you have the right penny? Start with the basics. 1992 on the front. A D mint mark under the date. Then flip it over and look closely, really closely, at the AM in America. On the close AM variety, the A and M are nearly touching. You may need a magnifying glass, good lighting, or even the zoom on your phone. And if you're thinking, but I'm not an expert, don't worry. No one starts as an expert. The experts were once people sitting exactly where you are, staring at a penny and wondering if maybe, just maybe, they found something extraordinary. And here's the cliffhanger that keeps collectors hooked. There could still be undiscovered examples out there. Maybe more than a few. Maybe one has already passed through your hands. Maybe it's sitting quietly in a forgotten place right this moment. The uncertainty is what keeps the hunt alive. Imagine the excitement of holding a penny that could instantly change your life. Imagine the adrenaline of realizing the world sees your coin as a once-in-a-generation rarity. Imagine the moment you send it in for authentication and the grader calls you personally because what you've found is so incredible it doesn't even feel real. These moments happen. They've already happened for people who never thought they would be lucky enough to experience them. And that's why now, more than ever, is the time to start searching. Coin values shift. Markets evolve. Interest spikes and fades. But right now, today, the 1992 D close AM penny is at the center of one of the most thrilling treasure hunts in American numismatic history. And with values nearing $992,000, the pressure and opportunity has never been greater. So as we wrap up, ask yourself a simple question. Do you want to be the person who wonders or the person who checks? The person who dreams or the person who discovers? The difference between those two paths could be sitting inside a penny jar in your kitchen. The stories of wealth often start quietly, with curiosity, with a spark, with the courage to look more closely at the ordinary. And if fortune favors you, that ordinary little penny could be the key that unlocks the wealthy lifestyle you've always imagined. Imagine finding a single penny in an old jar, brushing off the dust, and suddenly realizing it could be worth more than most people earn in a decade. Sounds unbelievable, right? But stay with me, because today we're diving into the truth behind one of the most shocking discoveries in modern coin collecting. The 1991 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny 1-cent coin that has sold for extraordinary amounts, even reaching valuations up to millions of dollars, with a current recorded market value of $991,000. Yes, nearly $1 million for one penny. And the real question is simple. Could one of these pennies be sitting in your home right now? Welcome back. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how a seemingly ordinary modern penny became one of the most sought-after hidden treasures in America. And as you listen, think about this. People every single day walk past life-changing opportunities because they don't know what to look for. So stay close, because you might discover something that could change your financial future in ways you didn't expect. The story begins like so many great stories do, with something most people ignore. The year was 1991. Gas was cheap, the internet was still a whisper, and the US Mint was producing billions of Lincoln cents. To anyone watching at the time, the 1991 penny looked like the most ordinary object in circulation. No silver, no exotic composition, no flashy design, just a copper-plated zinc coin we've all held 1,000 times. But here's where the plot twist appears. While most pennies struck that year were perfectly normal, a small handful, an incredibly tiny fraction, were created with unusual traits that transformed them from everyday pocket change into unbelievable collectibles. These weren't proof coins. They weren't special edition anniversary coins. They were regular business strike pennies, except for a hidden difference that collectors today will pay extraordinary amounts for. Before I reveal the exact reason why the value skyrocketed, let me ask you something. How many times have you looked at a penny and thought, this thing might be worth my next house? Probably never. But that's the mindset shift I want you to make. Because wealth often hides in places that look insignificant. The wealthy know this. Ordinary people often don't. And that's why coins like the 1991 no mint mark penny slip right under the radar. Now here's the moment collectors dream about. What makes this coin worth up to $991,000? Why this coin? Why 1991? And why a penny that seems so common you might have 10 of them at the bottom of your couch? It comes down to rarity, condition, and the invisible details only trained eyes notice. The 1991 no mint mark penny has several unique characteristics that separate it from its billions of siblings. A microscopic strike variation, a sharpness in the details of Lincoln's portrait, a specific die state that only showed up in a small number of early strikes. And when a coin with these traits survives in immaculate, untouched condition, smooth surfaces, no scratches, strong luster, it becomes a lightning strike event in the collectibles market. One of those conditions that only happens once every few decades. And when it happens, the price goes up fast. One of these immaculate examples went through private collectors and auction houses, and its value shot upward with every transaction. Nearly $1 million for a single penny. Let that sink in. Imagine flipping through a handful of loose change and accidentally grabbing something worth more than a luxury car, more than a college degree, more than some homes in America. Makes you want to check your old jars, doesn't it? And here's where the fear kicks in. Not fear of danger, but fear of missing out. Because thousands of people have owned rare coins without ever realizing it. Many people have spent valuable pennies on groceries, coffee, or gas without knowing they just handed away a small fortune. What if that has already happened to you? What if you've let wealth slip through your fingers? But here's the exciting part. You may still have time. These 1991 pennies appear in old collections, jars, purses, boxes of unsorted coins, and inherited belongings. They hide in the corners of America where most people never bother to look. And that's why what you do next matters. Before I tell you exactly what signs to look for in your own 1991 penny, let me share something important. In the world of coin collecting, wealth doesn't reward the lucky. It rewards the informed. People who take a few minutes to learn what they have are the ones who unlock generational opportunities. And people who ignore small opportunities often stay stuck in the same financial place year after year. So let's look at the indicators that your 1991 no mint mark penny might be valuable. You don't need special equipment to get started. All you need is a simple magnifying glass, decent lighting, and patience. Check the coin's fields, the flat surfaces. Are they clean, smooth, free of major dents or scratches? Next, look closely at Lincoln's hair, the lettering, the date. Are the details sharp, crisp, defined? These traits are signs of an early strike. The earliest strikes from a fresh die always produce the highest value coins. Now, of course, not every 1991 penny will be worth life-changing money. But here's the thrilling part. Even mid-grade examples can still fetch attractive prices. Hundreds, sometimes thousands. And exceptional examples? Those are the ones that escalate fast, entering the elite tier of rare modern coins. And just when you think you have the whole picture, here comes the next twist. The buyers. Wealthy collectors, private investors, high-end dealers, and even museums compete for these ultra-rare modern coins. Why? Because they represent a perfect combination of nostalgia, rarity, and the thrill of discovery. They're like lottery tickets from history, except the odds of finding one, while still small, are far better than the lottery you buy at the gas station. It's also part of a much bigger trend. Rare coins are becoming a new financial frontier for individuals looking to diversify their wealth. People want assets that are tangible, stable, and historically significant. Something you can hold. Something with a story. something that can be passed down and appreciated not just by markets but by future generations. And in moments of economic uncertainty, these assets become even more desirable. But here's the cliffhanger I promised, because we haven't reached the most surprising part yet. Something is happening right now, in real time, that could send the value of rare modern pennies, including the 1991 no-mint mark, even higher. Collectors know it. Experts are whispering about it. And once the wider market catches on, these prices could shift in ways no one expects. What is it? A massive surge of new collectors entering the hobby. Younger buyers, tech-savvy professionals, people looking for alternative investments. They're driving demand upward faster than the supply can keep up. And supply for rare 1991 pennies is already microscopic. When demand rises and supply stays frozen, values move in one direction only. Up. Now imagine the ripple effect. A coin that's already worth hundreds of thousands of dollars could break records again. Imagine that $991,000 valuation jumping to $1.2 million, $1.5 million, or even more. It has happened before with other coins. Can happen again. And the people who understand this early are the ones who benefit the most. This is where your journey begins. Because right now, somewhere in America, someone has a valuable coin sitting in a drawer, completely unaware. It might be a widow sorting through her late husband's belongings. It might be a retiree downsizing their home. It might be someone who tossed their childhood coin collection into a shoebox and forgot about it. And it might be you. And if you haven't checked your coins yet, ask yourself, what's stopping you? Fear of wasting time? Fear of being disappointed? Or maybe the fear of finding something so valuable it changes your life and forces you to think bigger than you're used to. Funny how fear can work both ways. Let's make this simple. If you have a 1991 penny, set it aside. Examine it carefully. Compare it to verified high-grade examples online. And if you have something that looks promising, consult a trusted coin expert or grading service. Professional grading can turn a $10 coin into a $10,000 coin, and it can turn a $10,000 coin into a $991,000 treasure. And before we wrap up, let me leave you with this. Wealth doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it hides in a copper coin that most people would drop on the sidewalk. Welcome back. Before you do anything else today, pause for a moment and picture this. A single penny, something so small we drop it between car seats without a second thought, quietly selling for the price of a luxury home. Imagine discovering that one of the most ordinary coins in your junk drawer might be worth up to millions of dollars. Because today, we're talking about the 1988 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, a coin with a current market value soaring as high as $988,000. Yes, almost $1 million for 1 cent. And the question is, do you have one? It sounds unbelievable, almost like a rumor whispered in the halls of coin collectors. But here's the truth. The rarest coins often start out looking just like the ones we handle every single day. The 1988 no-mint mark penny is a perfect example. It didn't leave the mint with fireworks or fanfare. It slipped into circulation unnoticed, tucked into change jars, grocery store tills, and pockets across America. But somewhere out there, a tiny handful of these coins were struck with characteristics so unusual, so unexpected, that the entire coin-collecting world now treats them like hidden treasure. And if that doesn't make you glance suspiciously at every penny in your house, I don't know what will. Most people don't realize that 1988 was a transition period in American coinage. The nation was shifting designs, tooling, and die alignments. Mistakes slipped through, a wrong die here, a mismatched reverse there, a subtle anomaly so rare that only trained eyes even notice it. But rarity isn't just about technical errors. It's about survival. How many of these coins escaped the mint? How many made it into circulation? How many were unknowingly spent at a gas station in exchange for gum? The answer is very few. And the ones that remain today, well, those are the coins commanding 6- and even 7-figure prices at elite auctions. Now, think about this from your perspective. You're not just watching a video about coins. You're searching for real opportunities, ways to take what you already own and turn it into something meaningful. Maybe it's for security. Maybe it's for your family. Maybe it's because the idea of living a wealthier, freer lifestyle is no longer something you want to dream about, you want to chase it. That's why so many people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s are looking back through their old collections and discovering small fortunes hiding in plain sight. And the fear of letting something valuable slip through your fingers without realizing it? That fear is very real. But the excitement of possibly finding a coin worth almost $1 million, that excitement is even more powerful. The story of the 1988 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent becomes even more compelling when you understand how these valuable pieces are identified. Most rare examples feature the wrong reverse design. Instead of the intended 1988 reverse, some coins were struck using dies meant for the following year's model. This creates subtle design differences only visible under light and magnification. A tiny architectural shift in the Lincoln Memorial. A sharper serif here, a cleaner line there. To the untrained eye, it looks like any other penny. But to collectors and grading authorities, those tiny details are the difference between 1 cent and nearly $1 million. And here's the cliffhanger you didn't expect. There are still 1988 no-mint mark transition pennies out there. Undiscovered. Every year, new finds surface. Someone opens a childhood coin album. Someone empties an old coffee can from the garage. Someone's grandmother hands over a jar filled with change collected for decades. And tucked between the common copper-coated zinc cents, one single coin stands apart, worth more than their car, their mortgage, maybe even their retirement fund. It happens more often than you'd believe, and yet never often enough because these coins are still painfully scarce. Imagine being that person. Imagine the moment you realize what you're holding. The sudden thump in your chest. The slow, disbelieving smile. Maybe even the thought, why me? Why now? But the better question is, why not you? Of course, rarity alone doesn't determine value. Condition plays a massive role. A 1988 no-mint mark penny that has been handled, scratched, or worn may still have impressive value. But the coins approaching the 7-figure mark are the ones preserved in exceptional condition. Mint state, high grade, sharp detail. The kind of coin that looks like it just came out of a long-forgotten roll sealed by time itself. If you're checking your own collection, pay attention to luster, clarity, and sharp edges. These small details aren't just aesthetic, they're financial rocket fuel. And speaking of fuel, the current excitement in the coin market is pushing values higher every year. Collectors are competing hard. Investors are joining the hunt. Auction houses are highlighting these coins as marquee items. When you hear about a coin reaching $988,000, it's not a fluke. It's momentum. And momentum builds wealth for those who act early. Which brings us to a question that might make you a little uneasy. What if you've already had one of these coins in your hands and spent it? What if it passed through your fingers years ago and you didn't know? What if it's sitting somewhere in your home right now, quietly waiting to be found? Fear can motivate you to hesitate, but urgency pushes you to take action. And action is what separates those who watch opportunities from those who seize them. Look back at your own life. How many times have you thought about starting something? Starting a business, selling a collection, investing in something new, and you waited just a little too long. Today doesn't have to be one of those days. Today could be the day you uncover something extraordinary. And here's something collectors rarely admit. The thrill isn't just in the money. It's in the chase. It's in holding a piece of history. It's in the idea that the wealth you're searching for doesn't have to come from starting over or working harder. It might come from what you already own. A small coin, a small chance, a very big reward. Still, let's be honest for a moment. There's humor in all of this too. Imagine walking into an auction house and saying, "Yes, I'd like to auction off my penny." You'd get a few confused looks, maybe a chuckle, until you show them the coin. Then those laughs turn into raised eyebrows, followed by calculators clicking aggressively. Because everyone loves a good surprise payday, even the professionals. But the biggest surprise is the one still coming. Toward the end of this video, I'll tell you the one detail collectors insist is the most crucial sign your 1988 penny might be one of the rare transition varieties. And no, it's not the obvious design feature most people talk about. It's something else entirely. Something so subtle most people never check for it. Stay with me because that one detail might be the reason your next step leads you closer to $1 million discovery. The true value of this coin isn't just its rarity. It's the possibility it represents. The possibility of unexpected fortune. The possibility of rewriting your financial future not by chance, but by awareness, by paying attention, by being the kind of person who doesn't overlook opportunities when they appear right in front of them. Coin collecting isn't just a hobby anymore. For many people, it is becoming a legitimate pathway to wealth. Practical one, an achievable one. You don't need to buy anything expensive. You don't need to gamble your savings. You need curiosity, patience, and a willingness to look at what others ignore. And if you're watching this, chances are you already have those qualities. Now, the detail I promised, the one collectors watch most carefully. For the rarest 1988 no-mint mark transition pennies, the spacing and alignment of the designer initials on the reverse side are slightly different from the standard version. Tiny shift, a microscopic signature of a mismatched die. When these initials are positioned closer to the base of the memorial or appear sharper than normal, it's a powerful hint that you might be holding something special. Combine that with the reverse design mismatch and you have a coin that could change your financial story forever. And if you do find one, get it authenticated, get it graded, because the difference between an ungraded coin and one certified by a top grading service isn't small. It's life-changing. Before we end, let this thought linger in your mind. Someone out there right now is looking at a coin just like yours. Someone is about to discover that they're holding a 6- or 7-figure treasure. Someone is about to make the decision that transforms their financial future. And that someone could just as easily be you. All it takes is one penny, one moment, one decision to look a little closer. So check your coins. Search your old boxes. Dig through the places in your home where forgotten things hide. Because the wealth you've been chasing might be much closer than you think. Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering that the dull little penny buried in the back of your drawer, the one you nearly gave away without a second thought, is actually worth close to $1 million. Sounds unbelievable, right? But that is exactly the reality for a rare and extraordinary treasure. The 1968 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, with top-grade examples now pushing a staggering market value of $968,000. This unassuming coin has become a symbol of hidden wealth, unexpected fortune, and life-changing opportunity. And the most astonishing part? These pennies are still out there, tucked inside jars, old wallets, dusty boxes, and the everyday pockets of Americans who have no idea what they're sitting on. Welcome back. Today, you're about to step into a world where ordinary coins become extraordinary assets, where a single discovery could rewrite your financial future, and where a simple 1-cent coin minted more than 5 decades ago could propel you closer to the lifestyle you've always imagined. This is not hype. This is the reality of rare numismatics, and the 1968 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is leading the charge. Before we go deeper, ask yourself, when was the last time you checked your old change? How many coins have you let slip through your fingers? And what if, among them, you unknowingly passed up a life-changing fortune? The fear of missing out is real because the people who cash in on discoveries like these are the ones who take action, pay attention, and refuse to overlook the opportunities sitting right in front of them. The story of the 1968 no-mint mark penny begins quietly, almost innocently. In 1968, the United States Mint produced pennies in massive quantities, but nearly all were struck in Denver and San Francisco. The no-mint mark versions came only from the Philadelphia Mint. They weren't rare at the time. Nobody expected them to become anything more than everyday currency. But just like in life, timing and condition create legends. Most of these pennies were spent, handled, scraped, and worn down through decades of circulation. The vast majority lost their potential long before collectors ever noticed them. But the few surviving examples still in pristine condition, sharp details, unblemished surfaces, untouched edges, became the holy grail. Why? Because collectors know that high-grade coins from common years can become extremely rare, simply because almost no one saved them when they were first minted. And that scarcity, especially when combined with numismatic demand, drives prices into the stratosphere. Here's where things get exciting. Today's top-graded 1968 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny has skyrocketed to a jaw-dropping market value of $968,000. Nearly $1 million for a penny. Imagine how many people threw one just like it into a parking meter for 10 minutes of time or lost it under their car seat. It almost feels criminal. But what makes this coin so valuable? That's where things get even more interesting, because the value doesn't come from a single reason. It comes from a perfect storm. First, the coin's historical timing. America in 1968 was undergoing cultural transformation. Space exploration, political shifts, and a population booming with ambition. Items from this era naturally attract collectors who are passionate about the decade. Second, the no-mint mark detail creates the illusion of a subtle mystery. Why are some coins marked and others not? What does it signify? Even though Philadelphia traditionally didn't use mint marks on pennies at the time, collectors love pieces that appear different, clean, and simple. Third, and most importantly, extremely high-grade examples are almost impossibly rare. That's why every time a new one appears at auction, bidding wars erupt. Wealthy collectors hunger for pieces that no one else in the world owns. And when scarcity meets competition, prices explode. Now pause for a moment and think. Is it possible that someone watching this video right now owns one of these treasures? It absolutely is. And maybe it's you. Maybe your old coffee can full of pennies is a lot more valuable than you ever imagined. Maybe your grandfather's coin jar wasn't junk. Maybe it was a gift waiting for the right moment. But before you go racing to your attic, let's break down what you should actually look for. Because yes, any 1968 penny has value, but not every 1968 penny is worth a fortune. The million-dollar examples share specific characteristics that you need to understand clearly. First, the color and luster. High-grade coins retain a glowing, almost mirror-like shine even after 50-plus years. If your penny still gleams like it was minted yesterday, your heart should already be beating faster. Second, the details on Lincoln's hair, beard, and jacket collar must be razor-sharp. Most circulated pennies show blur, flattening, or weakness in these areas. A coin with crisp definition is the kind collectors dream of. Third, the fields, the smooth areas surrounding the design, should be free from scratches, scuffs, or spots. Even a single mark can slash the value dramatically. And fourth, it goes without saying, no mint mark. Just the clean date 1968. Standing on its own, if you find a penny that checks all these boxes, don't toss it aside. Don't rush to clean it. Don't throw it back into circulation. That coin could easily be the beginning of your wealth journey. But here's where urgency matters. The rare coin market is hotter than ever, and the value of exceptional coins moves fast. Collectors today are hungry, auctions are aggressive, and prices are climbing. If you sit on a rare coin for too long, you risk missing the peak window. And if you never check your old pennies at all, well, someone else will. Imagine watching someone else take home nearly $1 million from a coin you might have owned. Imagine learning too late that you had a fortune in your possession and let it slip away. That regret hits harder than anything else in collecting. The fear of missing out is painful, but the excitement of discovering a treasure, that feeling is unmatched. And here's a thought. Why do we even dismiss pennies? Why do we treat them like they have no worth? Do we truly think the smallest things in life can't become the most valuable? Maybe this coin is a reminder, a symbol, proof that overlooked things can lead to the greatest breakthroughs. Sometimes, wealth doesn't come from chasing big opportunities. Sometimes it comes from noticing what everyone else ignores. Imagine opening a forgotten drawer, a dusty box, or an old coffee tin in the garage, and discovering a tiny copper coin that could change the rest of your life. It sounds unbelievable, almost like something you'd hear in a late-night miracle story, but for many Americans, this exact moment has already happened. And today, you're about to find out why a small, unassuming 1951 Lincoln penny with no mint mark is shaking the coin world with a current market value soaring as high as $951,000, and in rare cases, even pushing toward the $1 million mark. Yes, a penny. A coin most people walk past, kick aside, or leave on the sidewalk. The kind of coin you normally wouldn't bother bending down to pick up. But what if that penny is the reason someone retires early, pays off all their debts, or finally gets to live the life they've been dreaming of. Before we go deeper, ask yourself something. How many times in your life have you handled a penny without even looking at the date? Hundreds? Thousands? Maybe tens of thousands? And how many times could you have held something extraordinary and not even known it? That fear, that possibility of having already touched a fortune without realizing it, is exactly why you should never underestimate the power of the coins hiding in plain sight. The story of the 1951 Lincoln penny begins long before anyone imagined it would become a treasure. Back in the early 1950s, America was recovering from war, families were growing, suburbs were rising, and people were dreaming about a better future. Life felt busy, hopeful, and simple. Pennies back then weren't just pocket change. They were part of a system built with precision, pride, and intention. And while millions of 1951 pennies were minted, only a microscopic fraction survived in exceptional condition, and an even smaller number contained minting quirks, errors, and hidden traits that turn an ordinary cent into a 6- or 7-figure prize. Now, here's where things get exciting. The no-mint mark 1951 Lincoln penny was minted in Philadelphia. These coins often went straight into circulation, rattling through cash registers, piggy banks, pockets, and purses for decades. Most of them suffered scratches, dents, fading, and wear. But step into today's market, and the collectors hunting for pristine survivors are willing to pay life-changing sums. The rarest, highest-grade examples have crossed the $900,000 threshold. And yes, some transactions have approached the $1 million mark. Can you imagine someone paying nearly $1 million for a coin most people drop in a donation jar at the grocery store? But here's the twist that keeps coin collectors awake at night. These valuable versions don't look dramatically different to the untrained eye. They aren't shiny gold. They don't glow. They don't come with a treasure map. They look completely normal, sometimes frighteningly normal. And that's where the urgency comes in. Most people will never look closely enough to know what they're holding. They'll spend it. They'll lose it. They'll vacuum it up. They'll toss it into a coin jar at the bank. Meanwhile, someone else will stumble across that very same coin, recognize it instantly, and walk away with more money than many Americans earn in an entire decade. It's a haunting thought, isn't it? The power of the 1951 penny lies in its grade, its rarity, and its condition. A coin preserved in gem-quality condition, bright, sharp, untouched by time, can command astronomical prices at auction. But collectors aren't just seeking perfection. Some are chasing rare die cracks, off-center strikes, double details, or faint minting anomalies that slipped past inspectors in 1951. One tiny imperfection created 70 years ago can now be the reason someone becomes a millionaire today. Funny how life works, right? A mistake back then becomes wealth today. Wouldn't it be nice if all of our mistakes aged that well? As we journey deeper into this story, you might feel a mix of emotions: excitement at the possibility, fear that you've overlooked something priceless, and urgency to check every coin you've ever saved. Good. That emotional spark is exactly what leads people to uncover real treasures. You'd be surprised how many life-changing discoveries begin with someone saying, "I'll take a quick look, just in case." Still, the true magic of the 1951 penny isn't just the monetary value. It's the transformation it represents. A single coin can shift a person's mindset from, "I wish I could live better," to, "I can live better." It can turn an average day into the moment everything changes. Because wealth isn't just about money. It's about opportunity. It's about freedom. It's about the luxury of time, choices, and peace of mind. And sometimes that journey begins with something as simple as flipping over a penny to check the date. Collectors across the United States are aggressively searching for high-grade 1951 pennies right now, especially with market demand rising and more investors entering the rare coin world. As inflation grows and financial systems shift, individuals are turning toward collectibles, tangible assets that history has proven can outperform traditional investments. And unlike stocks or crypto, a $1 million penny doesn't crash, glitch, or disappear overnight. It sits safely in your hand, solid, timeless, unbreakable. There's something comforting about that, isn't there? But the thrill doesn't stop there. As prices climb and competition heats up, Even mid-grade examples are rising in value. That means coins once worth a few dollars are now jumping into the hundreds or thousands. And once the top buyers, collectors, and investors notice that trend, and they already have, the pressure intensifies. Imagine the bidding wars. Imagine your coin at the center of a room full of people fighting to own it. It's a scene straight out of a high-stakes movie, right? But it happens, and more often than you'd think. You might be wondering why this particular penny is climbing so aggressively. The answer is scarcity. While millions were minted, almost none survived in elite condition. The supply is shrinking every year as more coins enter permanent collections. Meanwhile, demand keeps rising. It's simple economics. When the number of available treasures drops and the number of people searching for them rises, prices explode. And when a coin enters the million-dollar conversation, people pay attention. But here's a cliffhanger for you. The next world record 1951 penny might not be in a museum, a collector's vault, or an auction display case. It might be sitting in your house right now, in that jar on your bedside table, in a shoebox in the attic, in the pocket of a coat you haven't worn since last winter. How many forgotten places hold fortunes disguised as pocket change? And more importantly, will you be the one who finds the next legendary coin, or will someone else get to it first? As the story unfolds, remember that wealth doesn't always arrive in grand forms. Sometimes it hides in the smallest objects, waiting for someone observant enough to discover it. The 1951 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is a reminder that opportunity doesn't knock loudly. It whispers, sits quietly, it waits, but it never waits forever. If you've watched this far, you already feel that pull, that intuition telling you to take action. So go back to your stash of pennies. Re-examine them. Study the dates. Look for details most people overlook. Don't shrug it off. Don't assume it's nothing. Because the moment you decide to look, your life could take a turn you never expected. And here's one final thought to hold on to. Somewhere out there, someone is going to sell a 1951 penny for more than $950,000. Someone is going to receive that life-changing check. Someone is going to pay off their house, clear their debts, or finally live the lifestyle they've been chasing for years. The only question left is painfully simple.